Hey everyone, it's Diesel from Imagine Your Goddess. It's wintertime, so as you can probably guess, my throat is hurting and I'm not talking well. But I decided to go ahead and break my vow of silence to set up this deck profile for you. It's Witches, Shadow, and Genesis together. I like calling it Chicory Witches, but it starts with Witch of Banquets Lear. Lear is a cool card. I like Lear best out of the Shadow Paladin starters, because she allows you to get the stand trigger, and that lets you unflip damage. So it's basically you hit with your Legion, put her in Assault, unflip 2 damage. It's pretty sweet. I run 4 heal. At some point I'm going to talk again about why we run 4 heal, because I know that the question comes up more often now that we're in a Legion state. But I still run 4 heal. I run 4 crit. I run 4 draw, and I run 4 stand. The stand for Witches lets you soul charge 1 and unflip a damage as long as your opponent has 2 or more grade 0 rear guards and you have a Witch as your Vanguard. Every card in this deck is a Witch, so that's really easy. Okay. By grade 1s, I run 4 copies of Dana. Dana is the Soul Blast 1 when you place her on rear to choose one of your opponent's rear guards and make them replace it with a 0 in their graveyard. They get to choose the 0 they replace it with, but they do have to replace it, so it's pretty cool. I run 1 copy of Witch of Peaches as a 10k attacker. I did this because I didn't like having 4 copies of a different card in my deck, so I did that instead. I run 4 copies of Witch of Strawberries, the perfect card from Genesis. Perfect cards no longer say that they are clan specific, so you can go ahead and ditch whatever card you want to protect whatever card you want. That makes it very easy to build Witches right now. Then I run 2 copies of Nostrum. Nostrum is the tap to drop and draw. I like it just because of the 7k and the fact that it says Witch. And I run 3 copies of Witch of Quests, Sakura. I like Witch of Quests, but I don't like having the 6k booster, which is why I run 1 copy of Peaches. This card, when you place it on the rear guard, if your Vanguard's a Witch, or is in Legion, rather, is a Witch and in Legion, and the number of grade 0s your opponent has is 2 or more, you can sack a Witch on the field to give negative 5,000 to your opponent's Vanguard. So it helps you reach power numbers pretty easily. I run 4 copies of Deidre. Deidre is the Legion with Kuas, whatever her name is. And it's also like Dana, so I like it a lot. I run 4 copies of Witch of Reality Femme, which is a 12k attacker, and the other Shadow Paladin mate. And I run 3 copies of Chicory, which is the 12k for Witches on the Genesis side. This just gives you better numbers to reach, so that when you are trying to take over at the end, you can do it. I run 4 copies of Mesmerizing Witch Fianna. Fianna has an ability that when she's in Legion, you can counterblast 2, choose 2 of your opponent's rearguard circles, and they look at the top 10 cards of their deck and pick 2 2s out of it to take the places of those cards. Also, when your opponent, you can sack a rear guard with the same name as a card in the Vanguard circle if your opponent has 2 or more grade 0s, and you can draw 2 cards. You can only use that effect once per turn. So hand advantage, being able to quickly shift your opponent's 0s so that you can do stuff with Arias is very, very useful. Finally, I play 4 copies of Rias. Rias' abilities, once activated, and it doesn't have an until end of turn thing, It's just choose your opponent's rear guard circle with the rear guard in it. Your opponent looks at the top 5 cards of their deck, pulls out a 0, and replaces that rear guard. You can use that as many times as you want, so you can get some good chains going if you have the stand trigger unflipping damage. Also, when you Legion it, you can sack a witch on the field to give your opponent's Vanguard -5,000 for each grade 0 that they have on the field until end of turn. So that's often 15k negative to your opponent's Vanguard, sometimes up to -25. That's a big deal. Rias is really your finisher for the deck. My suggestion is usually to keep a hand that goes 1, 2, and then into Fianna. Use Fianna to manipulate the field and finish out the game strong with Rias. This deck is a little finicky, but it is really fun to manipulate your opponent's field. So I hope you guys try it. I hope you like it. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I will hopefully get better soon so I can bring you more deck profiles. But in the meantime, this is Diesel signing off.